break the artos, we break that Thomas bread. We remember the Apostle Thomas, and we remember his doubt. But we actually remember his doubt as something that's positive. You remember all the times that I say, doubting Thomas. We talk about doubting Thomas. It's very negative, you doubting Thomas. And yet if we go and look at the hymns for this feast, we see another aspect and another view of Thomas and his doubt. Let us remember the Lord allowed Thomas to doubt. It was through the Lord's dispensation that Thomas wasn't there on that first appearance when Christ came through the doors and said, Mircea, peace be with you. Christ arranged that Thomas would not be there, that he would not have the opportunity, that he would not be a first witness of the resurrection. Christ allowed this, and why? Well, if we look, the hymns of the feast say that Thomas's absence and Thomas's doubt, and then Thomas putting his fingers in those wounds and slipping his hand into that robe of Christ and feeling that scar on the side, the church says this was a great blessing and this was a great gift to us. Last night, when we got back, I just quickly looked at the hymns, very quickly, and already things jumped out. And when we go to Gospodи Vozvach, Lord, I have cried from Vespers, that last verse after the glory, it tells us the story of the gospel. Thou didst come to thy disciples, O Christ, when the doors were shut. Then by dispensation, Thomas was not to be found among them. In other words, it's not by an accident that Thomas is not there. Christ has arranged it on purpose that Thomas will not be present and that Thomas will not be a witness. For he said, I will not believe unless I also behold the Master and see the side whence there issued the blood and the water, the baptism, and observe the wound through which man, the great wound, was healed, and see that he is not a spirit, but flesh and bones. O thou who didst trample down death and didst instruct Thomas, O Lord, glory be to thee. Thomas was there to see that this was not a ghost, that this was not a spirit, that this was not an appearance. For us it is so important, the physicality of this resurrection. This is Christ who is God, but this is Christ who is man. He hasn't become man in the womb of the Mother of God. He hasn't been born as a man in the cave of Bethlehem. He hasn't been crucified as a man and then risen as a spirit and left this body and this humanity behind. No, he has brought resurrection to our physical human state. And he demonstrates that in the physicality of the resurrection, that his humanity is resurrected. It's real. The scars haven't gone on his hands, on his feet, the wound in his side. It hasn't gone. It's still there. It's still real. And yet, they have become for us a source of the greatest miracle of all, of the resurrection. And all of this because the Lord fixed it that Thomas wouldn't be there. There were those in the early church, we've mentioned them, those who didn't even believe that Jesus had been crucified and died. They believed it was a twin brother. They believed it was somebody else. They believed it was an appearance. And St. John, from whom we have read this gospel, is there at the foot of the cross to say to us, no, believe you, me. It was real because I was there, because I saw it. The other disciples had run away for fear, but with his mother, I was there. I am an eyewitness. This is Thomas, who, where was he? Sorry, this is John, who at the Last Supper, where was he? He was leaning into the side of Christ. Almost, as we'd say here, touching into the side of Christ. Pressing against that humanity and that physicality of the God-man. And John says it. It's true. I saw it. I was there. And now we have Thomas, who in a similar way demonstrates for us the physical reality. If we look at some of those other hymns, just short little extracts. I rather like this, Ode 5 from the Canon of Matins, Utrenia. Thou hast proved the disbelief of Thomas to be the mother of belief for us. Thomas's belief is the mother of our faith. When we say Christ is risen, Christos voskresin, Thomas's disbelief is the mother of that statement that we say. Because we say, it's not just a rumour. We know Thomas was there, and Thomas saw, and Thomas felt, and Thomas touched. Ode 7, Thomas the twin, who alone was bold, and who by his unbelieving belief has brought us blessings. Thomas's unbelief brings us blessings, because it brings us the certainty that it wasn't a ghost, that it wasn't a spectre, an appearance. It really was Jesus, because Thomas touched and Thomas felt. Not in vain did Thomas doubt thine arising, nor did he keep it hidden for himself, but free of doubt he hastened to show it to all of the nations. And remember, Thomas, by ancient belief, was the disciple who got the lot to go the furthest east and ended up going as far as India, where there really were Christians from the earliest apostolic times who looked to St. Thomas as the father of their church. And then in Ode 8, I like this one. Thine inquisitiveness, less politely, your nosiness, has opened for us a hidden treasure. That when Christ opened that side and said to Thomas, go on, put your hand in there. That was a treasure for us. And we celebrate this treasure, not simply every Pascha, but when we come here on this Sunday and we remember the reality of the resurrection. I will never understand. Some of you may remember, lots are probably too young to remember. That time when, whenever it was in the 1980s, that the Bishop of Durham, David Jenkins, shocked Christianity when he said that Christ did not physically rise from the dead, that it was only an appearance. It was a statement which pushed some Anglican clergymen to resign immediately. And they became Orthodox priests. Because they believed what we're told here, that Thomas's unbelief is the mother of our belief. How could a church leader stand up and say that when St. John, who was there at the foot of the cross, who'd been there leaning against Christ at the Last Supper, John who says, it's real, I saw it, I was there. Thomas who says, it's real, I wasn't there. But then I saw it, and then I touched it, and then I felt. And believe you me, the resurrection is real. Obviously, the gospel to people like this is just a book of fairy tales and myths. And yet they still call themselves Christians. For us, we don't want that. But we say exactly what we read in the Apostica. Oh, strange wonder! Unbelief has given birth to steadfast faith. For Thomas said, unless I see, I shall not believe. And when he touched the side of Christ, he spoke with divine authority concerning the incarnate one who is the very Son of God. And recognizing him as the one who suffered in the flesh, he proclaimed the risen God and cried with a radiant voice, O my Lord and my God, glory be to thee. Thomas speaks to us. He speaks to us as a parish. He speaks to us as a church. And he speaks to us with authority. Why? Because his disbelief led him to go and to look and to feel and to touch and know the reality of Christ. Christ who is risen from the dead, not a ghost, not a spectre, but as one who is truly God and is truly man. And so, on this feast, we celebrate. We celebrate the disbelief of Thomas. And we say, how lucky, how blessed, how fortunate we are that Thomas did doubt and then went and had this very concrete and very real proof, so that he can say to each and every one of us, Christ is risen.
Truly he is risen. Christ knows Christ.